Welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night, 7 p.m. Central. We got Michael Aloisi here with us tonight. And let's see, darkinkbooks.com. It's great to have you here. We got Wham with us. Jay will be here later. And first off, Michael, where are you at right now? You said Spooky, Florida?
Spooky, where is it there? Spooky Empire, down in Florida, which is one of the biggest horror conventions, and it's awesome. It's really, really fun. It's massive. It just goes on forever and stuff. And tons of stars are here. It's a fun time.
Very cool. And I guess tell us a little bit about the publishing company and darkinkbooks.com. Everybody, if you want to go there and look, but give us a little background on it.
So I own and run Dark Ink Books, which is a horror publisher, and we do tons of horror, celebrity, and film-related books. We have Kane Hodders, who played Jason in the Friday the 13th movie. We have movies, like 4 of them. We have his book. We have Gunnar Hansen, his official book from the making of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We have William Butler, who did a ton of books. We have Steve Johnson's books, Shannon Shea, Eileen Dietz. We have tons and tons of horror books. We have the making of Friday the 13th, that book, and tons of horror fiction, a lot of short story collections and anthologies. And a lot of horror stuff. And so we're a big publisher, and we have books sold in I think 160, 70 countries, and sold movie and television rights, and do all kinds of fun things.
Very cool. So tell us about the Kane Hodder book. How did that go about getting that hooked up? And the book's excellent, by the way. And he is one tough dude. Like, you just feel the toughness from the chapters of the book. But tell us a little about that.
So I was just writing at the time. I was just a regular writer and had a couple books out. And I took a break one day, and I was watching a horror movie, and it was Ed Gein, The Butcher of Plainfield. And Kane's in it as the main star. And there's a scene where he has his shirt off, and you can see all his burn scars. And so I was like, I want to read his biography. And so I looked it up, and he didn't have one. And so I wrote a proposal, and I found contact online. I sent it to him thinking nothing will come of it. Then all of a sudden one day my phone rings from a blocked number, and I'm like, hello? And he's like, Mike, this is Kane Hodder. And I'm like, thinking it was a joke. I'm like, yeah, okay. Forgetting I emailed him, and it was him, and he wanted to talk because he liked my proposal. And he had a bunch of offers from big publishers and different people and stuff, but he was worried that they were going to really kind of mute his voice and kind of take away a lot of stuff, because a lot of the big publishers, they want to kind of focus on, what can get headlines with celebrity scandals and drama and stuff. And so he was worried about that. And so I told him, I said, we're only going to put out a book unless you're 1,000% happy with it. We won't put out anything unless you love it. And so he decided to go with me and wrote his book. And since then we've been like best friends, and 13 years later, we're still hanging out, doing conventions. We just did the last 3 weeks in a row doing appearances together. But his biography is very powerful because he suffered third-degree burns over most of his body. He almost died. He spent 6 months in the hospital recovering. The doctors basically said he wouldn't even be able to lift his arm or anything. And he went on to become a legendary stunt guy and and a legendary horror star, and overcome all that. And so it's kind of very powerful to the point where we've actually had over 20 people in the last decade who've actually come to us and said that the book saved their lives, which is, something that neither of us ever set out to do or expected, but it's pretty darn powerful and amazing that happened.
And Adam Green wrote the intro. That's really cool.
He did. Kane, Adam, and I had dinner last night. Yeah.
Cool. Kane played Hatchet, right? That's
Yep. Yeah, he's Victor Crowley in the Hatchet movies.
Those are great. Those are a hoot for sure.
Yep.
So was that Friday the 13th? What was it? The New Blood? Was that the first movie that Kane ever did? Did he have some acting stuff before that? Or was that the first?
Oh yeah, yeah. So Part 7 was his first Jason movie, but before that, he already had, I think, almost 100 film credits already.
Okay.
As a stunt guy, he was in everything from back in the 70s. He did Dukes of Hazzard and Wonder Woman, to tons of different TV shows. He was actually the stunt coordinator on, I want to say, Days of Our Lives for like 10 years. He did tons and tons of television, tons of movies, doing stunts and everything. But that was his first kind of starring role outside of stunts and stuff. And that was the turning point where he started becoming an actor and stuff as well.
Very cool. And what can you tell me about some of the things he went through? I mean, there was like accidents or something, like things that really hurt him. I know we mentioned a little bit, but it seems like there's a lot of incidents like that, right?
Well, the burn is the biggest thing. He spent 6 months in the hospital. Kind of all kinds of horrific things happened to where he actually was on no painkillers at all, because his father actually went to the doctor and said, I don't want my son getting addicted to painkillers. And so he was in the hospital with third-degree burns, to where they would actually have to do a thing called debriding, where they would scrape the
yeah.
And so he would have that done, and they'd actually brought him into the basement because he would scream so much, because he was on no painkillers, and so they would scrape his skin every day. And I mean, just horrific story of all the pain that went through that and stuff.
I had a good friend who did that debriding. That was what he did. He worked in a burn unit, and the people who do that, they are a certain kind of person, because they have to do this, and they know that they're causing people incredible pain. But if they don't do that, the skin doesn't heal right.
It's I couldn't imagine.
It's like, I couldn't even
horrible.
stand to listen to him talk about it.
It's hard. And then to do it with him with no painkillers at all.
Exactly. They usually give you like morphine or something. They do something,
Yep.
What do we know about his childhood and stuff? And was that a rough upbringing? And I read Billy Bob Thornton's book. I think it's called Cave of Ghosts. And he was just talking about when he was a kid, all he had was rocks as toys. And I remember bugs doing weird stuff, like something was trying to make me Vlad the Impaler, like torture dungeons for bugs. But let's not get into that. But anyway, what do we know about his childhood and stuff?
He had a very regular, happy kind of childhood. However, he grew up in a tiny island called Kwajalein, which is only, I believe it's a mile long and like a half mile wide, in the South Pacific. And so he kind of grew up there for most of his life. And so that's kind of very different childhood and stuff. And then he lived in American Samoa for a while, before he came back to America and stuff. But normal outside of living in a tiny island. Yeah.
And a lot of, these actors that play the horror icons, they don't talk. I mean, Jason doesn't talk any in those movies. And then Hatchet, I don't think he talks. He maybe does weird mutant
grunts,
mutant stuff. And then Terrifier, David's on my Facebook and stops by sometimes, but his same thing. But there's this presence, and that's what Kane Hodder, despite them not talking, there's still like something there, even when there's a mask.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, most people, Kane is their favorite Jason because he had that, that presence and stuff that he feels different and looks different than other people who played him and stuff, and which is exciting.
And those Terrifier movies, man, I love those movies, but some of the gore in there, that's like hard to get through sometimes. It's like, do I need to watch that again? I probably will. But
we actually, Kane and I had dinner with David a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I was with him last week too.
Great. Yeah, David's great. He's a trip.
Yeah, he's really nice.
Yeah, I've seen his Joker. I wish he could do something with that sometime. I don't like, even if it's animated voice, but he does a good Joker. That's really good. But what did he share in the book about his Friday the 13th experience? What's some of the stuff we can get into about him playing Jason?
I mean, just a lot of kind of behind the scenes stories and normal stuff, and there's some jokes in there about how he, pranked a cop one night and scared the crap out of a cop, and he almost got killed when in part 7 where the roof came down. It was actually too heavy and actually crushed him for real. Kind of like behind the scenes stuff like that.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything else from the book you'd like to share before we move on? Anything that stands out that you?
No, it's just it's a powerful book with a lot of kind of fanboy stuff in it, which people still love. 13 years later, people are still buying dozens and dozens of copies every convention I go to, which is pretty awesome.
It's definitely great. And for everybody, that's Unmasked, the true life story of the world's most prolific cinematic killer. And that's you can get it on Amazon, and of course there's Dark Ink Books. Mm-hmm. So tell us about the Leatherface book and the Arthur, and just whatever you can tell us about that. That's great as well.
Yeah, so Chainsaw Confidential is Gunnar Hansen, who played Leatherface in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It's his firsthand account of making the movies. Basically, it's like the definitive look at how the entire movie was made from start to finish, with some biographical, his life in there. And so it was originally published by a different publisher a long time ago. Gunnar and I talked for quite a bit about doing the book. At the time, we were just starting our company, so he wanted to go with someone bigger. But the book has been out of print for about almost 10 years. And so after he passed away, I contacted his estate, and they trusted us to put it back out. And so we gave it a new cover, and we just got it back out there a couple months ago, and it's doing real well again. And for me, it's something that's really I have a lot of pride in, because being able to get a Horror Legends book back out there in print so everybody can have it, and kind of make it, make sure it's a part of horror's legacy and it's available for everybody, is really kind of cool. And especially knowing Gunnar and stuff was, it's a big honor for me to be able to get the book back out there for everybody.
I was just talking to a friend of mine, Andy Colvin. He worked on behind the scenes some with that Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and he had some like weird old pictures from it. That I was talking about that today.
Yep.
Well, and that's Gunnar Hansen, right? That's the actor's name.
Gunnar was in the first one. Second one was Bob Elmore, and he's actually here today, down in Florida. Yeah, but Savini did all the effects on part 2, and I did his book as well.
That's awesome. Yep. You got so many great titles. A lot of legends for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what can you tell us some of the stuff in the? I know there's a lot. but in the Texas Chainsaw book, I mean, what are some of the things you get into, like the actor's life, like the Kane Hodder book? I mean, and who's the author of that again?
Gunnar wrote it himself.
Okay.
Yeah, he wrote that 100% himself, which is awesome. So it's his first-hand account of everything that happened, and how they filmed the whole thing and stuff like that. So. Yeah, those are all his stories and the behind the scenes, which is really, really exciting.
It's always interesting. I guess Toby Hooper, I said that right? It's Tobe Hooper, right?
That's Toby. Yeah, it's Toby. Yeah, I always thought it was Tobe too, but yeah, it's Toby. Yeah,
I'm bad at messing up names, but not on purpose. But I know the whole story of Ed Gein.
Yep,
is just so gruesome. Like, I have the true crime book here, and it's just like. I read the Dahmer one a long time ago and could never read another one, so I never got to the Gein one, but I always want to read it. But it's just so crazy, and how they branched off with Psycho. Like, I just saw Psycho 2 again yesterday after I saw Tarantino talking about it. That was a hoot for sure. That was a good one. But it's just interesting with everything, how they get into everything, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the true crime story. And how it turned into that.
Yeah, it's funny because there's so many movies that say based on a true story, but they're all based on Ed Gein. So it's like the percentage of the true story is about like 2% of the true story. Like Psycho is based off of it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs, all of them are based off of Ed Gein. When Ed, he killed only 2 people, which not only, but he only killed 2 people. He was more of a grave robber, and he would steal the graves and peel skin and make things out of the skin. And so, all of those movies and stuff kind of just took a very, very loose, version of that, of basically taking the skin to do something with the skin, so, but it's kind of cheating saying it's based on a true story when, because back when Texas Chainsaw came out, there was so many people thinking there was actually a massacre, with chainsaws and in Texas, when in reality it was just an old dude in, I forget where it was, Iowa or something, where he was just peeling skin off and making, lampshades.
Yeah. Is that Kane Hodder movie about him probably the most accurate as far as movies go? You think?
No, that one's kind of just like a slasher version of it.
Is there one that's accurate? I don't think there is.
I don't think there is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's I know I've seen pictures of him. He's a creepy looking dude. Like, just definitely scary.
Just like, hey.
That was the Ghost book under this label that you did, or was that
no Ghost? A Life with Ghosts, which is here. I actually have it.
Yeah.
Yep, A Life with Ghosts is Simon and Schuster, and it's actually a national bestseller right now. So which is
very cool. Very cool. That's mostly what we do here. I've just been horroring out for October. We do a lot of paranormal and UFO and crazy stuff like that. Yep. So what are some other books that you'd like to mention that y'all maybe are coming out or in process or whatever you can talk about?
I mean, I think I have 14 books that are out published. I do a lot of, or that are my books. I do a lot of short story collections, which are horror short stories. I have Tales from Mortician, which is like 20 short stories. Skeletons in the Attic, which is 15 short stories, and then Do Not Open, which came out this year, and it's another collection of 15 horror short stories. And then I have Kane's book, Savini's book, which I worked on with him. But the one I've been doing all year promoting is A Life with Ghosts, which is Steve from Ghost Hunters. His first ever book about his favorite haunted locations and kind of his thoughts and look at paranormal and all that.
Well, did you go on any cases with it or anything like that, or get that close to any of it?
We wrote most of it during COVID, so we didn't go out and do much investigations. I've gone on a couple of ghost hunts with Kane and other things like that. But yeah, with Steve, unfortunately, we didn't get to go on any of them during the writing of the book.
Kane Hodder has been on ghost hunts. He does that.
He actually has his own ghost hunting team called Hollywood Ghost Hunters, and they were actually on Ghost Adventures with Zach Baggin. They did an episode with Kane.
Ooh.
Yep.
Have you had any personal paranormal things happen, or?
Not really. I had one. Kane and I stayed at the Stanley Hotel for a week.
Okay.
And they actually put me in room 217. Where Stephen King had his experiences and wrote The Shining from, and I got to stay there for a couple of days. And a couple weird things happened to where the story in that room is where there was an explosion and the woman who took care of the room fell through the floor, was injured, and they ended up like taking care of her and they let her stay there. And supposedly she like puts people's away. Supposedly she like puts people's things away and like, kind of like organizes the room for people. And so we went to dinner. We all checked in, looked at the room. I was like, oh, this is cool. And we went to dinner. We came back, and I went to go to bed that night, and all my towels from the bathroom were gone. And I'm like, that's weird. And then when I pulled down the bed, all the towels were under the comforter, which makes no sense in the world.
That's very strange.
Yeah, it's very strange. But I was like, and then I was like,
in the Shining room.
Yeah, and I was like, maybe Kane played a trick on me. Then I was like, wait a minute, he was with me the entire time. So he couldn't have. And then we went down and asked the front desk, like, do you guys ever like play pranks on people or try to make people? And they're like, nope. They said if anyone actually does anything, they actually get fired immediately because they don't want, to make anything fake with the hotel. So that was really weird. It doesn't make sense in any way, but it's very weird. And then I went to bed, and it's weird because they play the Shining on a 24-hour loop. And so I'm in the room, from The Shining, watching The Shining. And I'm like, all night long.
Nice.
But I woke up in the morning and I found pieces of a rose stem in my room, which is they weren't there the day before, but there was 3 pieces on the desk and then a couple pieces on the floor and then a couple pieces in the trash. And so no rose petals, just the stem of a rose, like cut up into pieces. Can't explain that whatsoever, but it was just very weird.
The creepiest part for The Shining, there's a lot of it, but that naked lady in the bathtub, that's the one that does
exactly. And the bathtub in that room is a giant old 1800s bear claw bathtub. And so taking a bath in there, or not taking a bath, but taking a shower in there, I was like, okay, I'm in the tub from The Shining. I'm like freaking out trying to shower.
That's
So when it comes to the October season, Halloween, do you have time to watch movies? Is there particular ones you have to watch like during October? I have a few like that.
Yeah, I mean, I love watching horror movies in throughout. Like I usually what I do nowadays is just put on AMC Fear Fest and whatever's on is on because I'm traveling so much right now, so I usually don't get to watch it. But obviously, like watching Halloween, any of the Halloween movies, throughout the season, I love doing so. But yeah, I love just popping it on. I wish it was like that year round. So whenever I'm just doing something, I just pop on Fear Fest, But
there's been a lot of shows I've been having to keep up with. Chucky, Creep Show, Goosebumps.
Yeah, I have them all taped. I haven't caught them, watched them yet.
They're good. They're good. They're really good. I like them. But yeah, it's like now I have so many in my head. I'm like, I'm losing count.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Alex Vincent from the little kid from Chucky and from the show too is right across from me today. Yeah.
That's actually pretty good. I like it. It's Chucky's in the White House.
Yeah, I didn't watch this season yet, but yeah.
So with Dark Ink Books, is there anything coming out? Like what's up?
Our big book right now is we're doing a coffee table version of the In Search of Darkness documentaries, and we're doing a coffee table version of that to where it's kind of like the ultimate book of 80s horror. and so it has I think 240 something movies in it. So each movie has like a 2-page spread where it has like the whole history of the movie, with features on like 80s icons and like the box office for each year and all kinds of stuff. So we're excited about that because that's like a big coffee table book and stuff, and it's linked to the movies and everything, which should be really exciting.
I was playing that.
How big is the book going to be?
Excuse me. It should be. I believe it's going to be.
How big is that coffee table book going to be?
I think it's going to be like 13 by 10, the size, and then it'll be pretty thick, and all color and glossy pages. Yeah, it's going to be a big book.
There's a really cool book, off subject, of course, but a really cool book that some guy did. I don't know his name, but he made a book on coffee tables. But he made the book like coffee table size. It's a coffee table size book.
That's awesome.
So you can either like put it on top of a pre-built coffee table or put legs on it somehow. That's obviously too large of a format, but what a cool idea though. I mean, to make a book on coffee tables, coffee book size, and then sell it. That's a fantastic, cool idea.
That's cool.
Definitely. What about the Tom Savini book? What can you tell us about him? He's amazing with all he's done in the movies. And I just rewatched Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead. That's the only movie that I remember ever really scaring me was Night of the Living Dead when I was a kid. I would look under freaking beds, make sure. But I rewatched some of those. There's just something about them that stays with you for a while, or if not forever. But what can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, I mean, Savini, he's probably one of the most legendary humans ever for, especially in the movies. I mean, for anyone to have where they have his t-shirt on the face, like Tarantino wears like a, t-shirt with Savini on it, on it, like they used to sell pumpkin kits where you can carve Savini's face into a pumpkin. He's pretty amazing and pretty awesome. So for me as a huge horror fan, getting to like sit in his house with him and hang out and like, it was like mind blowing because his house is literally one of the coolest places in the world, to where every inch of almost every single room is memorabilia, to where there's, masks from this and swords from this and a throne from this and that room. And his entire bedroom actually has all the heads from Day of the Dead around the room. There's giant robots in his bedroom. Like just, it's freaking really, really cool. So getting to work with him was just, mind blowing. But his book is awesome. It's more of a coffee table type book, to where it's all color photos and filled with tons of photos and different stuff. And, it's his whole life story, and which is really cool. And we also, at Dark Ink, we also have Grand Illusions, which is his books that he came out in the 1980s, his how-to makeup effects books, which actually Peter Jackson used step by step to create his first movie and stuff, and a bunch of other filmmakers and everything. And so we published those books as well, which is really cool because it's actually a textbook in a bunch of colleges and stuff, and how to do stuff and everything, which is really awesome. But yeah, working with him was amazing. His book is really cool. Like Greg Nicotero actually just came over today. He's like, hey, you did Tom's book, and started talking to him. And I was like, Greg Nicotero's coming over to talk to me, which is really cool. So it's pretty amazing to get to work with him.
I always remember the penis gun from Dusk Till Dawn. Every time I hear Tom Savini's name, that gun,
he brings it to the conventions. He had it with him at the convention last week. Yeah, he leaves it on the table so you can take a photo with it.
I read something today that From Dusk Till Dawn originally was going to be a Tales from the Crypt movie, but something happened and it didn't. I didn't know that. That was pretty.
Robert Kurtzman's the one who came up with the storyline and wrote that.
There was a whole article about it. I don't remember where, but it was somewhere. But you got anything, Jay, you want to ask about the books or the Dark Ink? He's got about maybe 15 more minutes or so.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to bring Tom Savini into this. He's one of my favorites. I'm not a huge fan of horror films per se. I like some of the older stuff, Friday the 13th and those kind of things. And I know but if you look at it, Friday the 13th was probably the first found footage thing that gave way to the Blair Witch and what have you. Anyway, the book on Tom Savini, I'm curious about because I didn't know we were going to talk about him. Does it talk about? Is it just like his biography, or does he talk about how he figured out and taught himself how to do special effects makeup? And is it like a tutorial where he's teaching people how to do that? That would be a book I would definitely be interested in. What I liked about him mostly is he did shortcuts for some of the special effects or gore effects by using, animal parts that you could go to any regular deli and get, like pig intestines, tripe, cow tongues, etc. So almost all the things you see that are, when they pull, there's one great scene where they pull him apart, the zombies, and they start pulling intestines out and chewing on him like it's from the middle of his body. Those are actual pig intestines. So I think that was fantastic. That's I have a degree in video, so I kind of would have done the same thing he did, using natural products to make those effects. So I'm curious more about that than anything.
Yeah. So basically, we have two different books that we did with Tom. We have the Grand Illusions, books 1 and 2, which is his step-by-step how-to guide, and that literally shows you how he did effects in all of his movies. And so that's his how-to guide. And then we have his biography, which is his complete biography of how he got into makeup and how he fell in love with it and all that, and all the way through his whole career process and stuff, which that one's called Savini. Yep.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
That's fantastic. If I remember correctly, he did do the special effects for the Friday the 13th, the first one.
Yep. Yeah, that's what put him on
some of those special effects aren't really particularly. This will put him on the map. Yeah. Okay. I thought so. Some of those special effects aren't really terribly, nasty like they get nowadays. They're chopping off arms and heads and people walking around with their, intestines falling out. But they're really realistic looking. So, I mean, when I first saw that movie, especially when he kills Kevin Bacon with the arrow through the throat, I thought for sure they killed the actual actor because it looks so real. Yeah. It comes right through that little hole in your collarbones.
Yeah, we have a whole in the book. It has a whole diagram
fantastic
of how he did it.
Good work. I love
it. How he was under the thing and with the tubes and all the stuff and how they did it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Kevin Bacon hated that because he had to sit at this weird angle and
exactly
toss his back out,
crook his neck.
What is this book I'm seeing that's in location in Blairstown, the making of Friday the 13th? That sounds pretty interesting.
Yep.
Is that like the
that's the complete history of the making of the first Friday the 13th movie.
That would be cool to read,
which David Grove wrote. Tom wrote the foreword for it. And so the writer, David Grove, he basically interviewed literally almost every single person that worked on that movie, I think, except for Kevin Bacon, who's the only person he couldn't get a hold of. But almost every person, from literally the person who did the hair, the person who did construction, lighting people, the camera people, he talked to everybody. And so it's the complete look at the making of the movie. It even has pages from the script in it. It has all kinds of stuff. And it's an excellent book especially for either film fans or fans of the series and stuff. It's a really awesome book.
That's really cool. I know I was seeing how long they haven't done a Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th in so long. Yep. And I know there's all this legal crap with Friday the 13th that's just bizarre. I know they're doing that prequel series with Brian Fuller on Peacock. Yep. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
I love Brian Fuller, but he quits a lot of stuff, so that worries me. I know he quit Interview the Vampire and stuff, but or that show on AMC. But I know he's doing Christine too.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah, he's doing. I don't know if it's a movie or a series, but something to do with Christine. But I wonder the prequel series. I'm just wondering if they can even use Jason in it. I mean, I know they can on some level, but there's so many weird
there's some sort of settlement with a lawsuit to where
I don't think they. I think they're using the mom.
It's supposed to be just a prequel of how it got to that, before lead up to the camp, from what I understand. But however, I did see online there was a photo of a Jason mask from the show. And it said used in the movie, used in Crystal Lake, So I'm kind of curious. I almost feel like they're going to show the mask, and then someone and it's going to flash back and tell the story or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it should be interesting with Brian Fuller. No doubt. I loved Hannibal, and
amazing,
I'm still pissed off that they got rid of it.
I wish they kept it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like how I feel with Deadwood, and then you're going to give us a little movie. The movie is good, but screw you.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it going. Yeah.
Then Carnival in Rome. That was
Carnival was great. Yeah.
Yeah. That was, I swear I read something about some murder happened with an HBO something, and he made it took all the violent programming, something weird like that. They just, because it made no sense. Deadwood did really well, I thought, and got Golden Globes for Ian McShane. Just weird. So weird. That's like with Hannibal. Amazing reviews, just not enough viewers, I guess, and so kill it. It's like
yeah, it sucks.
It's like with Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol. I love that on HBO with Brandon Fraser's a robot and all the mutants. They're canceling it, but at least they made it to a 4th season.
Yeah.
But they'll ace it really fast for sure. So at this convention, what's some news that you're seeing that appeals to you with some stuff coming out, like movies and books? Is it like that kind of, like what else? It's like movies and books and stuff, right?
Well, yeah. So horror conventions, basically, all the celebrities are sitting there signing autographs. And then there's like at this one, there's a huge tattoo room. There's people getting tattoos. And then there's a film festival. And then there's a book area for writers and stuff. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff. And there's concerts and bands and parties and like burlesque dancing shows and all kinds of stuff. And so it's kind of a crazy whirlwind of awesome horror and macabre stuff, which is really, really fun. But I haven't seen any news of anything yet. So it's the first day. But hopefully we'll see some new films coming out and stuff and everything in the film festival, which would be cool.
How long do they usually last? Like how many days?
They're almost always Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Usually conventions.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Anything else you'd like to address, Jay? Or can you hear me, Jay?
No, but going back to the TV shows. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Am I there? All right. So anyway, back to the TV show. Are they setting it back in like the 60s or 70s where Jason died, or are they going to modernize it? Do we know that much?
Yeah, I don't know. It just, as of now, they only released that it's a prequel of what happened. So yeah, which is kind of an interesting choice to do, but because Jason's the whole kind of thing
bring
of it
forward into today's time, and you just and start this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, hopefully it's really good. I mean,
but if they're smart, they can bring it forward from the 70s or 60s, whenever Jason's killed, and bring it to modern times, and whole new direction.
Yeah, I'm just excited that Brian Fuller's doing it which makes me have much more faith in that it's going to be a good show and stuff. So, and it actually got picked up automatically for 2 seasons, which is crazy because no show gets that. No show gets automatic 2 seasons. Most get like a pilot.
Nice.
Then hopefully a season, so it's the fact that it has 2 full seasons automatically, which is awesome. Yeah.
So does aliens ever come up in any of these horror books? We do a lot of UFO shows.
Not yet. None of our books yet have alien stuff. Yeah. But I got to hang out with Lance Hendrickson a couple weeks ago, so that was cool.
That's cool.
Different type of alien, but yeah.
How about a Bigfoot?
Oh, cool.
That's good. That makes good horror. Bigfoot.
Not yet.
Sure.
We don't have no Bigfoots in our stuff yet, but hopefully soon. Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, I get. I'm friends with. Oh my god, I'm going to totally blank on his name the second I said it. Doug. He plays the Sasquatch in all the Jack Link's commercials.
Oh, okay.
So he's at the conventions with us all the time. He's really awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
He's done like something like 80 of those commercials, which is crazy. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Messing with Sasquatch.
Yeah, they're funny commercials. I hope they keep going. I haven't seen any in a while, but they are funny.
Yeah, he's done so many of them. It's awesome. Yeah.
So you have like several different publishing. What's AM Ink and Spooky Ink? Is that like other sections?
Yep. Yeah, so Dark Ink is all of our horror and dark fiction type stuff, like thrillers and crime and stuff. AM Ink is mainstream books and like mainstream biographies, and we do a ton of children's books through AM Ink. I think we have like 10 children's books coming out this year, or between this year and next year. It's kind of becoming our main thing over there is children's books. And then we have Spooky Ink, which is spooky themed children's books, which are like kind of like fun monsters and things like that. We have like one called All Hallows Eve in Salem and Christmas Eve in Salem, which are really popular books. They take place in Salem, and they have all kind of the excuse me. They have all the classic Universal monster type characters in it. And so that's kind of a really popular series over there and stuff. So
I see Maury the Miserable Vampire. I jokingly call myself Chubby Nosferatu, so it sounds like somebody would hang out with me. Maury the Miserable Vampire. Yeah. But definitely, kids.
You're
it's
talking
good
to
for
a publisher.
kids.
Get the book going. You can start your own book.
Chubby Nosferatu, baby. That's right. But
get it going, Chubby Nosferatu. We can use your picture.
We had Stephen Flowers on, and he wrote this book, Gothic Meditations at Midnight, which is excellent. The whole book is like a journey through horror, like from silent films to like 1975. But we talked about monster kids, kids who had abuse when they were younger and hid into these things. Like that was me. My dad was mean as hell, and I would escape into like Freddy and Jason and Dracula and all that stuff. And we were just talking about how this stuff is a good outlet for people to, you know, who have, like I say, dark side problems, channel creativity through horror, like from books and movies and, you know, whatever, poetry or whatever. It's a way to express ourselves that hopefully can keep you out of trouble and keep you from becoming Jeffrey Dahmer. Like people have to learn to, you know, express it through the dark art, so to speak. But we got into that, and that's why I think horror is important in a lot of ways.
We actually have a lot of people who come up and will tell us stories about how, you know, something horrific and how, you know, Jason was kind of like their protector in their head and stuff, and kind of like anytime something bad was happening, they would pretend Jason's going to come out and, you know, take care of the people who are horrible to them, and a lot of kind of similar things like that, and kind of like the horror let people cope and stuff. And, you know, I had a great childhood, a wonderful childhood.
Yeah, definitely.
But I was very shy and kind of alone, and so it kind of just somehow fell into it and become my love.
Well, one thing I was talking about on Facebook.
It's funny you say that. Jason thought of Jason as the protector.
Go ahead, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got something good here. It's funny you mentioned that someone had thought of Jason or one of the bad guys as their protector for like their mental psyche.
Yep.
There was supposed to be, and I don't know if you guys saw the League of Gentlemen, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Sean Connery. Pretty good movie. There was going to be a sequel, and it got quashed, went through, you know, development hell in Hollywood and got killed. But rumor had it that one of the new good guys in it was either going to be a Jason character, a Freddy Krueger type character, or the guy from the Swamp Thing character was going to be in it, which would have been really cool to like bring that more closer to modern and bring in a modern lexicon like Jason or Freddy or something like that. That would have been really, really cool. That's all I had.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I like that stuff. Yeah, it's funny because, you know, in all of those horror movies, we're all cheering for the bad guy. You know, all the time we're always like, "Yay, kill somebody!" You know, so it's kind of funny how they became like that rather than like, "Ooh, that's scary." We're all like cheering for him. You know.
I got a question that you could probably answer. Was Freddy really a pedo? Because I know that changed. Was he one of the older movies and then it changed in one of the newer ones?
He was always a pedophile. Yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was. It's funny because Kane always yells that.
I didn't get that.
He has a Freddy shirt on. They're like, "Oh, you like pedophiles instead?" You know.
He was in the old ones, but I think that newer one they kind of changed it up to where he was just
a little bit. Yeah, he was a little bit old. Yeah, I think he liked a little bit older.
That's why I always had trouble as a kid. I didn't care, but now I'm like, why am I like into this dude? He's like a pedo.
They kind of just. I mean, he only kills teenagers, but the whole backstory is that he was a child molester, and that's why they killed him. You know,
and that's what I was going to say about Jason. Jason seems like the only one you can kind of have sympathy for. Like most of them, like Chucky and Pinhead, they're like egomaniacs. You know, Jason, you kind of like
special kid who saw his mom get killed and, you know, wanted revenge. You know,
you can have a little sympathy for Jason.
But I don't get the. I don't get the whole thing about Freddy being a pedophile. Maybe we all have to go back and watch the movie again. It's been 30 years probably for me. But the way I understood it is that in the beginning of the movie, they show Freddy, or maybe it's later on in a backflash story, they show Freddy just being friendly with some kids in the boiler room, and then angry villagers break into the room and think he's molesting the children. I think they were just playing. I don't know. I don't think they went any further than that.
That's the newer movie, I think.
I think it might be the newer one.
To one way you saw the newer one.
He was, or he was just a simpleton at like kids, and he just got, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the original.
No, I have, but I don't remember it. It's the original one I'm talking about. I don't.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm going to go. Thank you. I'm going to go back and watch that tonight. Actually, so it's Halloween, and my girlfriend wants to watch.
Michael is probably more of an expert than even me, so I believe it. But as far as with Jason though, this definitely. I mean, he was like mentally I don't want to use the R word, but he was like mentally disabled, right?
Yep.
I mean, as a kid, so and then they kind of left him and he drowned and all that.
Yep. Mentally handicapped.
Yep. And it was weird. I saw that leather face.
And
go ahead. I think there's a short.
The other thing about Jason, particularly from the first movie, is he wasn't supposed to be all mutated out like that. That was the last minute thing. It was like they had already actually finished filming the movie, and they wanted to do one more reshoot of the ending, and they asked Tom Savini to doctor up the child, and just for no reason whatsoever, he just made him look all bloated like that, like he'd been in the damaged by being underwater for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the last minute afterthought, and now he's this huge, super magical lexicon dude that everybody loves. I mean, I think he's a fantastic character. You can't kill him. Hollywood can kill him temporarily, but
exactly.
Well, hey everybody. Michael's got a jet. He's at the convention.
Yep.
We appreciate it so much, Michael. That's darkinkbooks.com.
Yep.
Thanks so much. It's an amazing show. Thanks for the Halloween lineup, making it awesome, and we appreciate it so much.
Cool. Thank you guys for having me on.
All right. Have a good time. See Al.
Thanks. Say hi to all the ghouls and goblins over there.
Ask him about. Tell him I said tell you about George Romero, but that's a lot. So maybe just send the show to you. All right. Take care. Take care.
George A. Romero.
He told some really cool stories.
Very cool. I didn't know we were going to get Tom Savini on this. I wish he'd have said. I would have prepared some more questions.
Well,
that was awesome.
His book's on the. I didn't even realize it until I was looking through the site. but I think I'd seen it earlier, but I forget stuff easily. So what's Wham's on the fumes? Me too. But
I'm way on the fumes. I'm so tired. I can hardly handle things right now.
Well, I know you said you were just going to stick around.
I've been off work for the last 5 weeks, so I'm overly well rested.
Well, Wham, I know you said you're going to stick for the interview and then jet. So if you need to, just let me know or jet on out, and we'll see you for Allison. That's one thing I want to mention with Wham is next Friday is Allison Jornlin, and I spoke to her this morning, and she's on Shark Tank tonight. She does ghost tours. What is it? Milwaukee?
In Milwaukee,
Milwaukee, and home of Jeffrey Dahmer. Ugh.
They also not only does she do tours in Milwaukee, but she and her brother, they will take they'll do cruises, and they'll go down to they'll take trips down to Hawaii and other places where other people will come with them, and they'll do tours of certain places. But Milwaukee's where they're from. Yeah.
Is it a walking tour they're doing up there?
Yeah. They do this whole sort of it's they almost act like a travel agency for people who want to do ghost tours, basically. And she's a fun person. We've interviewed her before. I like her. She's good.
So if it were me, I would call it the Milwaukee Walkie Horror Tour. And Walkie would be AWAUKE. Milwaukee Walkie Tour. That would be cool.
Right.
I wanted to check out this incense that I got.
Oh,
Dracula's Blood, werewolf, vampires.
Are these gifts that you got?
No, these were just on Amazon for $6.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they don't smell like dead corpses.
They actually smell like that non-chompy or whatever.
Oh, that non-chompy.
Non-chompy.
They're really sweet, sickeningly sweet stuff.
Yeah, very strong like that. They're real good. But there's one called Keep Evil Out or something. I gave my mom most of those. But they're very strong. I thought they would be just weak kind of Walmart incense, but. They're
you should try. Have you tried the Ganesh incense?
I've heard of it.
Comes in and go. Yeah, that stuff is really good. It's not super powerful. Like patchouli, if you burn patchouli incense, it can overpower the house and take over the whole, and stay for a long time. This stuff it's very fruity. It's not flower. They don't use flower essences, but they have about 10 or 15 stick flavors, and the even ones are kind of pungent smelling, and the even ones are kind of sweet and flowery. So you should give them a try. They're really.
Yeah, and wait, you keep freezing, but
sorry.
And then after that, Wham is Steven Snyder.
Steven Snyder,
he's always a character, so that's really good.
Yeah.
And then I got some Weird West guests coming up. And then December 15th, I'm working with Stephanie with that food lady.
Oh yeah. That should be kind of a fun thing.
We're trying. She's gonna write her. Right? She apparently doesn't really know her. I thought she knew her, but she saw the show and liked her, so she's gonna approach her on our behalf, and then she'll sit in with her. So hopefully it works out. I don't know yet, but it could work out. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's trying to make it work out.
Trying to make it work out. Well, I'm gonna let you guys go because I'm dead. So
all right, I understand. And we'll see you next Friday with Allison. So
yeah, take it easy, guys.
Get some rest.
Good to
Get
see
some
you,
rest. All righty, let's see here. You're listening to United Public Radio, 107.7 FM, New Orleans. I need to play this one little commercial real fast. It's just the Halloween promo. Let's see.
Okay. Cool.
I was like, when's this thing end? My God. Like, I thought that was the end of it. Anyway, that's coming up. So, did it even say anything? Like it said the times or anything?
Not really. No, it wasn't any voiceover either. Just music.
Yeah. Confusion. But anyway, anywho, we're crazy as hell here tonight. You should check out deadskypublishing.com. They have cool, weird West books. So what's going on? It looks like we're all about to die. I know, right? I mean, just keeping up with this SHIT is crazy.
I've always been of the thought that the Twin Towers being knocked over and the Pentagon being attacked by airplanes was the opening volleys of World War III. But it turns out that they're just kind of temporary setbacks. But yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, you got half the Middle East launching rockets at each other. You got Russia and Ukraine launching rockets at each other. We just sent Ukraine rockets to shoot at Russia. So it's an entire shit show, the whole thing.
There's one thing that I've been trying to understand with a lot of the Israel stuff. It's like I'm around a site that before it's news that has a lot of, I guess, the right wing side there. And a lot of them are still for Trump. A lot of them don't seem to like him anymore. And a lot of them seem like, well, I don't know if I'd say a lot of them, but I know a lot of them seem like they're for Israel. But it's weird because it seems like there's a lot of them there that aren't. So it's just confusing. Like I thought the whole right-wing Christian, and not necessarily even Trump, that you're supposed to be pro-Israel. That's the Bible. That's the rule, the law. Protect Israel, right? Yeah. So it's just confusing when I see like right-wing people there not, like they say mean things about Israel. And I'm not going to get into it because of the algorithms. Like I'm trying to be careful. But it's just confusing. I'm confused all the time looking at that crap.
It is kind of confusing, especially because they're only fighting over these people and the land that the UN gave them in 1947 because they're the chosen people. They're fighting over. They're trying to get rid of these people off of our planet because of a fictional story that calls them the favored children of God. I mean, come on, that's like it is the stupidest reason for this whole thing, and it's been going on for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Well, both of them have their version of God. My God's better than yours. My God will kick your God's butt. And, I was raised.
But it's the same entity that both of their religions are talking about. That's the other thing they don't agree
I
upon.
was raised in Christianity, and it's very confusing. It kind of seems like a death cult. I think there's some truth to Jesus on some level of Christ consciousness, like nirvana, like Buddhists reach. And I guess my biggest evidence for proof of them being a Christ-like being or some kind of enlightened state of nirvana or teachers is my experience of being completely sober, seeing shining dudes leave my house and fly into the heavens. So that's like I believe because I've seen, but I've also seen with religion so much abuse just in my own family. My mother and her sisters were the M word assaulted by a family member who was a preacher and is sick. And he was like esteemed in community, and if they said anything, nobody would believe them. And I've grown in Georgia all my life, and it just seems like the American Taliban. And I don't, there's just fanatics, and they seem just as fanatical as like some of the terrorists. But as far as I don't go around, talking smack. I think there's truth in every belief system, including the Bible. And we've had Michael Carter on, who will rock your ass on the Bible, and he is amazing. So I think there's truth there, and there's a positive side, but there's also a mirror dark side that's gross.
Yeah,
and but like I said, when it comes to Jesus and stuff, you're not going to see me talking smack about Jesus based on that light being experience. Like they had some sort of power beyond this realm, and maybe that's what we become when we die, that we have it too. I don't know, but I know I saw, and seeing's believing for sure. But go ahead.
I kind of agree with you for the most part on that, but I don't think, I'm not 100% certain that Jesus is an actual historical biological figure. I don't think he was an alien. I'm not necessarily certain that he actually exists. I think he may actually be fictional. There is very little evidence from those Roman times, and which isn't surprising. I mean, it's a long time ago. It's possible those records have been lost, but the records that were kept by the Romans in the areas where Jesus was alleged to have walked around and preached and done this and that and the other thing, and been arrested several times by the Romans, there would be many, many more records, I think, of his existence, and we have trouble finding that from the Roman records. It seems he might be more of an amalgam of some other deity-like or sacrifice-like historical figures, perhaps Osiris, perhaps other historical figures and kings of the time. But what's really fascinating is that these people that are fighting, we have the Jews and the Islamic people fighting, and they also look at their books are almost identical. The Bibles they use, neither one of them agrees that their God is the same God, but each of these books, the stories are so similar. They're talking about the same entities, the God in Christianity, Yahweh in Judaism, and what are they, Muhammad or whatever in Islam. So they're all the same idealistic stories, told three different languages, but the same stories. You get they're fighting over these same stories. They both believe in these same stories, written maybe with a little bit different context from the different cultures, but they're the same stories, regardless. And they're fighting over it. And it's the dumbest thing ever. I can't fathom the fact that that Hamas is trying to kill the Jews because they're the favorite people and they're living in Palestinian land. Well, I'll tell you what we should do. We scrape everybody off of that ground and we start looking for where it says where the Palestinians go and where the Jordanians go and where the Jews go and where these people go. The land doesn't belong to anybody.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, what I see,
thing ever. And they've been, like I said, they've been doing this fight for hundreds of thousands of years now.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a single decade since written history came around that region of the earth has been free of war or conflict. There's constantly been war and conflict in that region. Why?
Well, here's my thing. Like I'm looking right now at a headline: "Woman's head found in trash can after she was allegedly decapitated by daughter." I have seen so many weird ass horrific headlines lately that this feels like we're in a freaking horror movie. Like I just read a story about some young girl. She was leaving, and I forget where it was, but it was just something I saw on, I guess, Microsoft News or whatever. She was leaving her boyfriend on her bike, and I love you, we'll see you tomorrow. Check in with me when you get home. Blah blah blah. She vanishes. Some sicko took her to a barn, put her in a freezer, and killed her. And it's just like this stuff. There's something wrong here on this planet. I don't think it's the Earth that's wrong, but there's something. I don't want to be a paranoid freak about the devil or demons, but there's obviously some kind of dark side here that sucks arse. Like something is just like I tell people. Right. Yeah, I tell people that say they don't believe in the devil, and I'm not someone. I think there's something like that. I don't know if it's like, hoofs and
somebody's turning stuff
something
up
ain't right
on purpose, but I don't think it's the devil.
Yeah. You might believe in the devil more if Jeffrey Dahmer, or you wake up in his house in a chair. Yeah. There's like he's the devil in that particular situation. So it's kind of
here's something horrific that you don't really necessarily want to hear, and I don't think it's going to make any of the news. But Joe got some pictures from someone in Israel. What the Hamas did to a baby in a baby carriage. So they lit the baby carriage on fire, and somehow the baby ends up on the ground with its head smashed in after it had been burned.
Oh.
So I mean, if these are true things happening in the Hamas-Israel war, it needs to stop right away, and Hamas needs to be immediately, like everybody, arrested and or killed. If you can do that to a baby, right? That's sick.
I mean, there's Palestinians who are like just the people caught up in this S, and then there's Hamas as the terrorists. I saw something that they were interrogating one of those Palestinian dudes, and he said that Hamas was offering like 10 grand in apartments if you bring back a prisoner or kidnap people. So, I mean, there's crazy forces at work, no matter which way you slag it. But what about the U.S. test this nuclear thing in the desert, and now Russia's testing their crap? It's like this flex of penises. Some days I'm like, will you just get it over with and do it, you ugly Putin-faced Gollum arsehead?
He's fixing to do something. He's fixing to.
Let's do it and shut up so I don't have to see you anymore. That's how I feel about it. Of course, I don't want it to happen, but you just get sick of it. It's just disgusting. Men flexing their little testosterones and their egos. Need to be invaded by aliens. War of the Worlds. Who probably run this earth better than these morons. Idiots. It's like there's no real leaders. Where's King Arthur? Vlad the Impaler? Hell.
It's funny you mentioned King Arthur. I actually went to a used bookstore today after my doctor's appointment, and just going to see if they had any used Dungeons and Dragons books in there.
Yeah.
And I saw this really huge book. It was only $18. I probably should have got it, but it was Le Morte d'Arthur, the whole thing. But it was a hardback cover, large volume format, nice looking book for $18. Should have got it.
What was it though? Again, title?
Le Morte d'Arthur, the Arthurian legend.
It was Dungeons and Dragons though? Like
No, it's not. I went there looking for Dungeons and Dragons. They didn't have any, but while I was looking, I saw that book on one of the shelves, and I thought to myself, I should probably buy it, and I didn't. So,
what's the exact title? Tell it to me one more time.
Le Morte d'Arthur.
Oh yeah, that old ass book. That's like those true stories.
Legendary true stories.
Yeah. They have these really cool, like I guess I don't know if they're for children. I guess on some level, but they're like H.G. Wells, War of the Worlds illustrated, Jekyll and Hyde illustrated. That book I think illustrated. They're on Amazon, but I wanted to get a bunch of those. So I want to read some old classics, the classics.
Yeah.
I'd like to have those just in the house in case apocalypse happens, so you can just read them. When the grid goes down, just read the classics. I want to read that, what is it, Island of Dr. Monroe. I've never read that. I saw the old movie
Moreau,
recently.
not Monroe.
How you say it? Moreau.
Island of Dr. Moreau.
Moreau, okay, yeah. I've always had trouble with that. But I've always had trouble just with everything. But anyway, I want to read that. Have you ever seen the old movie of that?
Yes.
I
A
love
long time
that.
ago.
I saw that recently.
There was also a TV miniseries of that
Really?
book that was, it was, I think it was NBC on years ago.
I'll look it up.
You might maybe be able to find it on DVD. Some of those old TV shows are lost, but I think the TV show was probably cut back quite a bit, because the original book's pretty gory.
Yeah, something about it, I like it. That old one, I just rewatched it. That was really good. It's just old and good. I'm trying to watch some old stuff, digging out the Hammer stuff. There's an old Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Terror I've never seen. Like it's from the 70s.
We've been doing that too. I actually saw a movie, and I can't remember what it was, just recently, like a day or two ago, and I can't remember what it was, but it was one of the first movies Lance Henriksen was in, and you don't see him at first, but you hear his voice. So I'm like, hey, that's Lance Henriksen. And turn around, yeah, that's him. But it was just a bit part. He was probably in the movie for 15 seconds, maybe 2 minutes total.
What movie was it?
I can't remember. That's the thing. I just saw it the other night.
You ever seen Night of the Demon? That's an old one from the 50s. That's a trip, man.
I think I have that in my DVD collection, actually.
It's called Curse of a Demon or Night of a Demon. It's like two weird titles, but mostly Night of a Demon, I think. It's got that big ass, like there's a Satanist dude and like a hero dude and a chick, and the people are dying by a certain time with these glyphs on a piece of paper. But the biggest, weirdest thing is the demon. Like it's just crazy special effects from the 50s of this demon that like kills you. It's really good. A lot of people watch it this time of year. Night of the Demon.
I'm going to try to open up my list of movies, and I'll see if I have it. I think it's in my DVD collection, but I'm not positive. I have over 900 titles right now.
I'll tell you one. I saw Psycho 2 recently. That's good.
Yeah, that was okay. I saw that a long time ago. Does that also have Anthony Perkins in it?
Yeah. It's a continuation.
Yeah.
I saw Tarantino smacking it up. And I've seen it before, but it's been a while. And I watched it, and I was like, this is really crazy, but it's good. Jennifer Tilly's in it.
Oh yeah, I like her. She's good.
She's like the girl that comes to the hotel and everything. It's crazy, though. A lot of twists and turns. The third, what is it? You have it?
No, I'm still looking for it. Hang on, I've got over 900 titles, so I'm trying to open up my workbook now.
Richard Mole, Night Court star and voice of Harvey Dent, has died at 80.
Oh, I liked him. He was such a good guy. He was so funny.
He's a good dude. I haven't seen him in a while. He done got ancient.
I think he pretty much retired from Hollywood after the show was canceled. They started doing a new one, a new Night Court, which is very funny. The little blonde, ditzy girl from that Big Bang Theory show. She's the daughter of the original actor Harry Stone. She's the daughter of his character from that show. I don't know if you've seen it, but it is really good, really funny.
What's the show?
Night Court.
Oh yeah. It's been a while. It's been a long time.
No. There's a new one with the girl who had the big boobs and the blonde hair and Big Bang Theory. She plays the character of the daughter of Harry Stone's character from the original TV series. And they have John Larroquette come back to the show. They don't have any of the other supporting characters. Like I was hoping they would get Bull back in there, but no, I guess not. He was probably sick. That's why he's passed away.
Devil comet heads towards Earth. Experts say no cause of concern. Then why are you calling it a devil comet?
Because it exploded like several decades ago.
It's funny because Eric Grimsrud is always looking for the comet that passes through from Mabus and says Trump's going to croak during it. So every time we see a comet, we're like trying to line it up to the. He has some pretty compelling stuff about Trump. Has some pretty compelling stuff about Trump and Mabus. It's crazy, creepy. But I do think Trump is a Napoleonic type figure that fits the criteria if you really look. But that's the devil comet. I think that'll come through April. Some reason my cat loves trash ties and fetching them.
the little wire ones, yeah, they all love them.
Yeah.
Like you gotta throw those away. If they eat them, it'll hurt. It hurt them.
She just brings it. She don't chew on it. She don't ever chew on it. She just brings it
No.
back and forth.
Yeah, I just throw them away just to be on the safe side. All right. So you said that the name of that movie was Night of the Demon, or what else?
Night of a Demon or Curse of a Demon.
Curse of the Demon. Okay, I'm up in the L's. All right. So let's look for Night of the Demon. Three Musketeers. Yeah, I got a bunch of Three Musketeers movies. Nick of Time. Never. Oh no, I don't. I got the Omen collection. We were watching that the other night. And Curse of the Demon, you say. So let me look back in the C's here. Constantine.
It's like 1956 or something.
Yeah. No, I don't have it. I thought I did because the title is very familiar sounding to me. So I've probably seen it. I do know I have Night of the Comets, which is kind of a sci-fi horror movie, but it's not that good. It must be under science fiction.
What do you have? What's some of the movies you have?
Yeah, if you want, I'll send you this DVD. My DVD. I got to update it. My DVD list. It's over 900 titles of movies. So for people.
What's some of the ones?
Well,
you're watching, for Halloween?
I got them categorized by genre. I've got sci-fi, fantasy. I've got action, horror, martial arts. I've got a lot of documentaries, UFO and Bigfoot type documentaries. Maybe about 20 of those. But yeah, my main collection is the sci-fi collection. That's the largest part of my. It takes up almost two. It takes up one full rack, and then my cartoons and family TV show section takes up like almost a full rack. So I'm pushing 1,200 titles probably.
What are you gonna watch for Halloween? October. What's in the October lineup?
Well, since it's October, Diane's been wanting me to lots of stuff. So we've been watching a lot of horrors and scary movies, and we did the Omen trilogy. We got one more Omen to do. It's the last one. It's the fourth one, and I think I tried to watch it, but I fell asleep because it wasn't that good. But it's about the Antichrist. It's a female Antichrist in this one, I think. So I don't know. Maybe we'll watch that, but I think I have to show her the Lost Boys next. I was thinking about that when we were talking with Michael earlier.
That's a good one. She's never seen it.
She's not a videophile. We're the same. I mean, she's a year older than me, and we grew up in the same county. I was in Rockville, and she was in a little further down near Bethesda or past Bethesda, but in the same area. But she was never a big TV show fan. I mean, she's seen some of the shows. She knows Star Trek and the Thundercats and things that I enjoy. But you try to do a pop culture reference with her and some movie franchise, she won't get it for most part. She just had never seen a lot of movies. She raised 5 children, so I mean, she wasn't in the theater. Try going to even in the 80s at $4 a ticket. Try going to the movies with 5 children. 6 times $4, you're spending $30 right there.
Yeah, it's outrageous. And then all these streaming places are raising the money up.
Yeah, they're all my 3 main ones all raised up earlier this year. And I don't know, maybe and I'm not sure. Maybe they're supposed to be starting to. All of them have to offer you free local news, like your local ABC, NBC broadcast channels. So if they have to do that, that's more technology they have to add into their system. And so I can understand them raising their prices, but they should be forced to do that for free anyway. I mean, you should be able to, especially if there's like an emergency in your region, you should be able to turn on your local news. And most of the streaming services, you can't find your local, TV news station.
Definitely. And what I hate about some of these streaming places lately is they're trying to like you go to Amazon and there's all these movies you can watch with commercials. I don't I'm there because I don't want commercials in my crap.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Especially the ones you pay for, the ones you can get for free, Tubi and Pluto and Freebie TV and all that. I can understand them putting commercials on you. Like, that makes complete sense, absolute sense. But you charge me 99 cents a month, I don't expect to see commercials. You charge me $4.98 a month, I expect not to see commercials. Maybe you watch a movie, I can expect them to put some previews. What this streaming station, what we're going to have next week, next month. What movies are coming up. That's fine, and then no commercials. But you're paying money. There shouldn't be a commercial in between your TV show. Again, maybe at the beginning, like not necessarily a commercial for product, but this is what's coming up live on Roku next week, next month, next year, whatever. Why charge me and then make me see the commercial? That aggravates me to no end. And I think I'm gonna stop all the services where that you do have to see commercials.
And they're adding like a lot of commercial stuff. I'm hearing that they're going to start doing. Then you have to pay to get rid of them. Like more.
But we're already paying. So, if I were president, you hear this, Mr. Trump, if you're listening, you get me as vice president, this is a good idea. You make all of the streaming services offer several levels of streaming service, starting with a free, not a free trial, but a free service. You go on there and anything that they don't have to put all their movies out there, but they put all of their product out there with commercial because you're on there for free. They got to pay for it somehow. Boom. Then you go to the next level. Let's say it's like the copper level. You pay $5 a month. You get no commercials, and then you get movies that aren't available on the free end of it. Like on-demand movies and stuff like that. No commercials on your TV shows. You get some free live content, which would you expect to have commercials? Okay, you can't get around that. And then free pay-per-view movies. Boom. Then the next level will be like, bronze and copper, silver, gold, what have you, till you get to the level of entertainment that you desire. But it shouldn't be paid service with commercials in between every TV show you watch. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's my
crazy.
Dog, Admiral.
It's crazy. Some of the headlines I see: Speaker Mike Johnson, boom. Of course, everything that's happening is a false flag. I've even seen some idiot saying none of it's real. It's all fake. Give me a break. I'm so sick of some of this crap I have to see every day.
Can you see the puppy? Let me see if I can
nuts.
Let you see the doggy.
That's the German Shepherd, right?
Yeah. Can you see? He's a little dark. Can you see him?
No. I can see his collar.
Come here, buddy.
Yeah, there he goes.
There we go. Get a little light on the subject. Hey, buddy.
What's his name?
Smile so they can see you on the camera. Say what?
What's his name?
Well, his main name is Admiral. I sometimes call him by the nickname Smog, S-M-O-G, which I stole from Beverly Hillbillies. It's a smog. We reckon it's a small dog, although he's huge. But his full name is Admiral Clem Kadiddlehopper.
All right. What the hell's
you have to go back and look at Red Button's character, Clem Kadiddlehopper from the vaudeville. He played and portrayed this character all throughout his movie and television career.
Who is it again? Who is it again?
Clem Kadiddlehopper. I'm going to send it to you. And
that's a real dude?
It's a character that he made who's just a simple country bumpkin. The name's up there on the private chat so you can look at it. And if you look at any of the old videos of him, the look on the dog's face is identical to the look on Red Button's face as he plays the character. And he's got this floppy hair because the dog has one ear that flops over and one ear that stands up. And Clem, as the character, also had a hat that was kind of floppy, kind of flat on one side and up on the other. But I just was looking at this dog the whole time, like,
Red Skull.
I wanted to call him Admiral, so that was a good one. It's like, but it can't. I was like, it can't just be Admiral. He's got to have a proper first and last name. And just looking at him, I'm like, he just looked like Clem Cadiddlehopper. You gotta compare. I'm trying to get a couple pictures of them side by side, face to face.
I saw it. I looked up Red Skelton, that picture. I saw a picture of him.
Yeah, he was a goofy fella, very funny dude.
Yeah, I don't mind watching. I like watching some old stuff. Need to watch some of the Abbott and Costello, Frankenstein, stuff like that. That's fun to watch.
Oh God, those are good. You know, I've also been watching. I wouldn't even say catching up, just seeing them again for the first time. The Friar roasts comedy, the Friar comedy roasts, and the Dean Martin roasts, which they basically the Dean Martin roast came off of the Friar Club comedy roasts, which started that whole thing. And the first one they ever did was Johnny Carson. So I watched that, and I've watched a whole bunch of them. They're so funny and politically incorrect, mind you, but very funny.
Yeah, and that Goosebumps series is pretty good.
Yeah, we're probably gonna check that out. Diane found that what is that on Hulu?
Yeah, it's on Hulu and Disney. It's not bad. Everybody's like, it's better than I thought it'd be.
It's got that kid Brandon something or other. He was the goofy kid from Galaxy Quest who stars in it.
Yeah. He was also the teacher guy that's in it. He got brown hair.
Yeah,
black hair. Mm-hmm. He's in a lot of movies, but he was in Barbarian. That's a pretty trippy movie. That's on HBO.
He was in Jeepers Creepers too, as well.
Not
the second one, the first one.
Watch Barbarian. That's crazy. That's on the Max, and it's got that dude in it, and it's got Skarsgård in it, the It Clown guy.
Stellan Skarsgård, yeah, I like him.
Yeah, that is a crazy movie. Like, I don't even want to give it away. It's so crazy. It's basically about an Airbnb or something, and it's just nuts. It's definitely good for Halloween. But I'm just gonna say there's some mutant shit kind of going on in it. Mutants. It's not. I didn't like when I watched it. I had no idea what it like. Barbarian. What the hell are barbarians? Like Conan. But it's a good watch. I would definitely watch it for this time of year if you've never seen it, for sure.
No, I haven't. Yeah, I'll check it out. You said it's on Max. I got that. So
yeah, I believe it's still on there. Why does it seem like time's going by so slow?
I don't know.
It's like we're in a loop. Hopefully, there's not nukes dropped. They're saying Black Monday on the nukes are going to go off. They're saying we're already in World War III because our U.S. troops are in Gaza. Is that true? Why is that considered World War III?
I would say if they move troops into Gaza, that's an opening step.
They did.
If you notice, after World War II, we have troops in every country in Europe, so that World War II can never break out there again. Well, I mean, not that it can't, but it's more deterred. And less likely to happen in Europe. If we're moving physical bodies on the ground, this is going to escalate. If it hasn't already, they're 6 hours ahead of us. So if it hasn't already escalated, it is going to very, very soon.
They're saying they sent Marines in, right? That's what I'm seeing.
Marines are the first to go in, and they're the last to come out. If they send in Marines, it's serious. If they send in, advisors, and that weren't Marines, different story. But if this is actual troops, it's not a good idea, not a good sight, not a good thing.
Pentagon surging thousands of troops toward Israel. And I was already seeing some headlines saying they're there, but I don't know if that's in the mainstream media yet.
So if you believe the hullabaloo that Israel missed this attack because of intelligence leaks or intelligence gaps that they didn't have the proper intelligence on it. Just think how good our intelligence is versus theirs, and they're very good, by the way. As far as intelligence secrets go, they're very, very good. As far as spying goes, they're very good. But they're much smaller as a country, so they don't have quite the same resources as we do. But they're on our level. So if we're moving stuff in, we know something. We may even know something that they didn't. We may even know something that we're not going to tell them, and we may know something that is really, really bad that we have already told them. So,
yeah, who knows what's going on?
Not good.
Who knows what's going on that we don't know about?
Well, somebody does because they're sending in the troops.
Yeah, it seems like it's just going to escalate. What about this Maine shooter? What a dick!
Didn't hear about that.
Walmart. You didn't hear about that?
No, I haven't been watching TV all day. I've been
this was the last few
goofing around on other
days.
things.
There was a Maine mass shooter who, I think it's like 20 people, 60 injured, a Walmart, a bar, a gym, and they didn't catch him. He's still at large. It's like one of the biggest historical mass shootings in a long ass time, or that's what they're saying anyway. But it's crazy. Like 20 dead. He went to a Walmart, a gym, and a bar,
and then disappeared
and vanished. I think he took a jet ski. He's supposedly mentally ill and has audio hallucinations. And main shooter, even Stephen King let out a release about saying that play Lewiston is 15 minutes from him. It happened in Lewiston, and it's all over. I'm surprised you haven't heard it. They even sent out well, you're in Pennsylvania now, but in Maine they sent out like warnings on your phone in Maine.
Well, yeah, I guess if you had a Maine exchange, you'd probably get that, but I don't.
Weren't you in Maine? Weren't you? Didn't you move from?
I've never been to Maine, Maryland, but not Maine.
Where were you? Where were you before? Maryland, Maine. I mixed it all up.
Maryland.
It's all an illusion.
Queen Maryland.
It's hard for me in this world. It's really all is just BS illusion, and you're supposed to like do material slave jobs just to live here that are full of crap, usually ran by full of crap people who rip you off in various assortment of ways, and everything just seems like a corrupt crap hole. So that's America, the American dream. Yay! It's a joke. Did you see the artificial intelligence juggalos meeting the Native Americans instead of Columbus? I posted.
No, oh yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
I have sent it to you
on Facebook.
Yeah, it's on my wall somewhere.
I haven't looked at Facebook today too much.
It's a few days back, but it's the Juggalos meeting Columbus. But I mean, except it's basically the natives meeting Juggalos instead of Columbus.
Wow.
But the Juggalos are nice and teach them how to grow Fago and different stuff.
Fago like to drink?
Yeah, that's what Juggalos like. They like Fago. I don't know why. Woo! Imagine just chilling at Walmart or going to the gym. Some jackhole just wants to kill you because he's an idiot. I call him Jihadi Cracker. Because basically he's perpetuating jihad by all the nutters in the Middle East that call for it. He's just doing their work pretty much. But he's a white jihadi cracker. So that's him. I hope he gets caught.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the gun carry laws are in Maine, but one state down in Vermont, it's open concealed carry, meaning anybody, not just state citizens, but visitors to the state, anybody who legally can own a gun in the state of Vermont can also legally conceal that weapon upon their person anyhow they like. You do not have to carry open. So had you done that down in Vermont, this guy probably would have been shot and killed in the first place he went.
That's what Stephen King was raising heck about, the gun laws and stuff, the crazy automatic stuff.
Well, I mean, think about it. Think about it like this. The gun laws are the worst thing to happen as far as gun violence goes. Because in those states, particularly those states that are controlled by blue or Democratic politicians, particularly in the cities. If you look at the cities, if the city is run by a Republican politician, the city generally has a lower crime rate, less shootings, and in some cases, no shootings, violent crimes in those cities that are governed by Republican politicians. Blue, Democratic tend to have higher murder rates by gun, violent crimes by gun, and higher gun laws. Like Maryland, for example, has really strict gun laws. It's very hard to get a handgun. It takes, I think it's a 180-day waiting period. You have to wait more than half of a year to pick up a handgun in the state of Maryland. Long gun, no big deal. You can go to any store, any gun store, Walmart, whatever, buy a shotgun, walk out the door that day, walk to another store, get ammo, boom, you're on a killing spree. Not a big deal. You're almost any state's like that. But by restricting those laws and restricting the way people can carry those guns, opens up the door everywhere else for violence. Because if you're not carrying a gun, whether it's concealed or open, criminals know where places are that people don't carry guns. They know the states. That's why those states have those high crime rates. They target those places. They don't. When you see and read about a mass murder spree, it isn't happening in a police station. It isn't happening in a fire station. It's not happening in the police in the airport. It's not happening in post office. It's not happening in any kind of government buildings where people might have guns. It's happening in places where they don't have guns. Schools, because it says right in front of the school, no gun zone. Boom, instant target. Malls. Almost nobody brings guns into a mall. But if you're in a city or a area that's controlled by Republicans and you have lighter gun carry rules and you can carry open anywhere, you tend to find out when people are carrying guns, especially open carry guns, no violence happens because the shooter doesn't want to get shot at. He doesn't want to be a victim, except for those few, suicide by cop people that are out there.
I just think they should be harder.
If everybody's carrying a gun, less people are going to get shot.
I think they should be harder to get if you're mentally deranged and have
you
like a record.
Be able to. Period. If you have certain mental conditions, you should not be allowed.
What Stephen King was saying that in other countries they don't have this. Is that true? I mean, why not? They don't. Why is it just here?
Well, in England, you can't own a gun. Very few people now can own guns.
There was a Norway shooter.
There was no longer buy and own guns in England.
There was a Norway shooter, so I know that happened, but it just don't happen as often.
It doesn't. Some countries, like I think it's either Switzerland or Sweden, don't remember which one, but it's one of those countries. In fact, all the countries in Europe, I believe, you have to do the army for 2 years. It's part of your, growing up. But Sweden or Switzerland, you go to the army for 2 years, and they give you a rifle. I don't know what kind of rifle it is. It might be an M16. It might be a Swedish-made gun. Who knows? But you are required by law to keep that gun that they give you stays with you. They don't, when you put it back in the army, they don't give it to the next guy that's in your troop that goes out shooting. It goes to you, stays with you. You are required to keep it clean, ready to go, loaded, and in full functioning condition at all times. And that's even after you get out of the army. You are required to keep that gun that the army gave you and store it in your house. And again, keep it in functional condition, keep it armed, keep, be ready to use it with bullets. And because once you leave the army, you are now part of the state militia. This isn't a right. This isn't a right. This isn't a privilege. This is a requirement. You have to do this. If they did that here, we would have a lot less gun violence, a lot less mass murders in malls, and we might even have guys in our schools carrying guns to protect our children, which would make some sense if they are well seasoned, mentally, sound and straight-minded and thinking, and aren't prone to lacks of alcoholic abuse and violence.
Well, but I also think there's a lot of weird levels with this kind of stuff. I think some people do it because they're mentally ill, but I think they're also, not to go off the kooky end, I think there's targeted individuals, technology that can implant thoughts in people's heads from far away and program them. And they may find mentally ill people that are susceptible to that. And it could be a foreign nation. Hell, some people say it could be our own black ops or something weird. I don't know if I agree with that, but who's to say a foreign nation can't make an individual snap and go rogue or whatever?
There are some reports that there is some certain technologies that the U.S. and some other countries have that it doesn't require a chip in your brain, period. First of all, they can just
have Robert Duncan on. We had Robert Duncan on once, as former CIA made technology, and they stole it from him to target and gang stalk individuals and abuse individuals. And
what I'm saying is
he's a whistleblower.
They no longer require anything like that.
Yeah,
they might have needed a chip in your brain to control you in the past, but they have these devices now allegedly that they can tune to a certain frequency at your brain and turn your brain from happy thoughts to, wanting to kill thoughts.
Yep. I believe it. And they can, I believe they're trying to control our emotions.
Yeah. But if that's true, then, and it doesn't work on everybody, but it works on certain, on the most people, certain intelligent people, they say that doesn't work on certain education levels afterwards. You're immune to it, basically. But even so, if that device is a real device and it's true, that's kind of scary. But they're also allegedly saying that some of the alien species interested in our planet are also somehow able to control us mentally and have us do things for them. It's not necessarily an electronic device, but it's some type of telepathic, suggestive thinking that they force upon you. So there's that possibility. And there's the other possibility, which is probably the main truth, is that there's just a lot of people out there with a head full of bad wiring. They're just mentally unstable to the point where they not only should they not own guns, they shouldn't be permitted to be around guns. Like they shouldn't be able to go over to see Grandpa Henry's famous rifle collection. They shouldn't be able to go over to Uncle Joe's house of BB guns and go planking. They should not be allowed to be around violent weaponry, period, whether it's a sword or a gun.
And here's this Dr. Robert Duncan, CIA, DARPA, openly admitted in writing to conducting experiments on psychological warfare by DARPA on Dr. Horton. Dr. Duncan appears to work with, it's just basically the whole history. Here's his book. He's been on the show a long time ago. His book is Project Soulcatcher, Secrets of Cyber and Cybernetic Warfare Revealed. CIA's practice of interrogation and cybernetic mind control in their pursuit to weaponize neuropsychology covers the art of biocommunication war. Human beings are complex machines, but their inner workings have been deciphered. Mind control and brainwashing. Basically, it's a dude that's made the tech, and it's like a whistleblower. He's been on.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Hey, give me a few minutes. I got the dog is indicating he needs to pee. So rather than have a puddle in my office, I'm going to take him out back for a few minutes. So I'll be gone maybe 5-10 minutes. All right.
I'm going to sing a song.
All right. Yeah, record it and we can put it on Facebook or something.
Who's out there listening? No one? Let us know. It's Friday night. What are you doing? You're probably not listening. You're probably doing stuff. People listen on the archive. Our Stephen Flowers got 250,000 hits on the SoundCloud. That was a really good show with Stephen Flowers. If you missed it, it's on the archive, paranormalradionetwork.org. And that was on Classic Monsters and his book, Gothic Meditations at Midnight. That whole book is really cool. That was like one of our Halloween shows. That was last Friday. And it's got 262K hits, 420 likes. Well, that's right, 420, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That was Stephen E. Flowers, Gothic Meditations at Midnight, Classic Horror Lit and Film. That book is like watching silent horror movies. Like every chapter is just really cool. Universal Monsters, Hammer. That was a trip. What's really a trip about Stephen Flowers is his Temple of Set connection. It leads back to Michael Aquino. He usually writes books about Norse. Then he wrote a book about Nazi occult symbolism and weirdness. That's definitely not pro-Nazi. It's just the history of it and stuff like that. But Michael Aquino and the Temple of Set is pretty fascinating. We have Don Webb on all the time. He's co-hosted with me and has affiliation with them. I'm not affiliated with them. When I interview him, I try to go into Geraldo Rivera mode. That's right. I'm just messing around, but Geraldo Rivera seems like a jerk. But anyway, I guess my biggest problem lately is all this right, left-wing crap. Like, I just don't like any of it. Labels and boxes. Oh, I'm a globalist. Oh, I'm a nationalist. Oh, I'm a blah, blah, blah. Who cares? We're all going to die. Who cares about your illusion? You're not going to take it with you. think God or the universe cares if you're a right or a left or a globalist or a nationalist? Who gives a flying crap? Just so sick of it all. It's just disgusting. I know that Courtney Brown dude that worked at Emory University, a doctor, he did a book on remote viewing that's pretty weird, like Cosmic Explorers. There's another one too. I don't think I read the other one, but I have it somewhere. But anyway, that book's pretty weird. It's about remote viewing. He claims there's reptilian bases on the Earth, and this dude's like a doctor at Emory University. Like, it's a weird book. But anyway, he says at some point in one of those books that polarizations have killed ancient galactic civilizations and brought them to ruin and death. Basically, the left and right wing energies of yin and yang, or whatever the hell, you know what I'm talking about. Up, down, left, right. Just this point that I'm this and you're that. Polarities have brought death and destruction to ancient civilizations in space. If you look at this world, this meager world of mortals, you have the Civil War, up and down versus blah, blah, blah. There's complexities to it. Yeah. But it's still a polarity war. You have all this crap that's happening right now. Primitive cavemen babble, hitting sticks, trying to make fire. Me tribe bigger than your tribe. Me left, you right. Me up, you down. This is stupid. I'm just sick of it. To see the crap all the time where I work. It's just, people are idiots. Talking about the polarizations of left versus right, and how Courtney Brown, the doctor from Emory University that wrote Cosmic Explorers, the remote viewing book, says these polarities have destroyed ancient space civilizations, destroyed them, like the Civil War in our country, like the crap going on right now. Left versus right, me tribe, tribalism, mine, whatever's better than your, the sportsman crap. It brings ruin. It's destroyed ancient civilizations in space from an Emory doctor who does whatever the hell, Farsight Institute. I'm just saying, all this crap is an illusion. Do you think the universe gives a crap if you're a Republican or a Democrat after you're dead? Oh, there's Jimmy. He was a Republican. You're getting a front row seat in the carnival. Get chicken in a balloon. Just tired of all this shit. And it's killing us. We're about to die from it all. So I hope you enjoy your jerk off sports team. I'm just tired of it.
My sports team doesn't even exist anymore.
Which one? I don't even know what you're talking about. What do you mean? Republicans?
The Washington Redskins no longer exist. However, I do not call the Commanders. I call them the Redskins. And I think it's politically incorrect to have made them change the name without consulting the Indian tribes. Because as far as I know, the only people making any kind of comment on the Redskins name were all white people.
Yeah.
It's not their dog to have a fight in. So, but apparently white people had them get kind of nervous about the name, so they changed the name. And it upsets me. And I'm a Native American, but I'm not an Indian Native American. But I would have consulted them. I would like to know how they feel about they're losing their representation in our sports authority. The Indians, Cleveland Indians, changed their name to the Guardians. Kind of stupid, just like the Commanders. Had the Commanders chosen the Warriors, that would have been fine. They wouldn't have had to change anything but one word in the fight song, and they could have kept two major icons. They could have kept the Indian head logo helmet sticker, and on the other side of the helmet, they had a spearhead logo. They could have kept both of those vivid images represent our Native American brothers in our sports industries. But no, we got the Guardians, we got the Commanders. The only ones left, I think, are the Braves.
What are they wanting to name the Redskins?
They're called the Washington Commanders now.
What? That sucks.
It sucks, but it makes sense. Commander-in-Chief, D.C., Washington, D.C., the President of the United States, yada, yada. but Warriors would have been better. Warriors was one of their former players, Doc. I forget his name. Doc Brown. Anyway,
that keeps some of the mystique of Redskins, like a native, a warrior. Washington
that's what I'm
Commanders.
saying. We've lost that representation in two sports teams. We have Cleveland Indians became Cleveland Guardians. Washington Redskins became Washington Commanders. You have the You have the Atlanta Braves. Still have their Indian theme logo, and I think that's it. No, I don't think there's the Florida Seminoles haven't changed their name.
That's just all stupid.
Well, it's a single tribe.
What was up with natives boycotting it? There were some natives that boycotted that Adam Sandler movie. Like, there must be some sensitive natives. It's an Adam Sandler movie. Like, I love natives more than anyone.
Which one?
But I supposedly there was Ridiculous 6 or Ridiculous something on Netflix. I don't know. It was a long time ago. But anyway, I supposedly have Cherokee. I've seen pictures of my great grandmother, like a picture, and she looked like she just came off the res. So, but if you look at my DNA, which I'm trying to access it right now so I can read it, I always get lost. There it is. Like, where is my stupid thing at? There it is. I was going to read mine real quick. Here's mine. I'm going to read my DNA. God, they always want you to spend more money. I ain't got no money. I'm poor.
Get the upgrade package for just $99,995.
I already did the DNA. What else do I need? I don't need anything else. I have 0 cents.
RNA? I don't know. What else is in there?
My life is, I have like 0 cents right now. Like, really sad. But anyway, Scotland, 24%. That's me. Wales, 21%. Ireland, 21%. What the hell? Somebody's jumping some fences. England and Northwestern Europe, 20%. Germanic Europe, 9%. Sweden and Denmark, 5%. So what the hell happened with mine? There's some Vikings doing some pillaging all over the place.
And there's no percentage of fart box on there either. That's
I know it should be 1% fart box. But as far as my aunt told me, her name, we go back to Grace Wallace, which was my dad's mother. We're related to William Wallace.
Oh,
so cool. That's pretty cool. Freedom! William Wallace don't play. They messed up his wife. What did he do? He hunted them down at night, according to Braveheart. I don't know how accurate that was. I guess it was pretty accurate about Mel Gibson and everything.
It's still cool. We fought with Wallace. My tribe did. This little thing was trying to get in the door. And every time I opened the door, he ran away.
Look.
Little black key cat. You got a black key cat?
Look.
Yeah. Look.
No, she's always a brat when you pick her up.
Look at your TV brother.
Look at the kitty. Sister. Look at the kitty.
Look over here. He doesn't recognize it.
Cut it out. Don't you even start. What are you doing?
Apparently yesterday was, or maybe it was today. I don't remember. I think, though, it was International Black Cat Day. So, yay for black kitties.
Is your cat always trying to bite you? like everything's playing.
He likes to play fight a little bit, but not always. Yeah. So sometimes he does, but not always. He's pretty cool.
I think mine wants to eat me. The cats will eat you.
Well, if it tastes good, you know.
Cats will eat you when you die. Dogs won't. Mine's trying to chew on me right now. You're trying to eat me. Quit being a brat.
Yeah, today is National Black Cat Day. So yeah,
that's right. I'm sorry, but if you hurt a black cat because you're a nut, you're sick.
If you hurt a cat, a dog,
for sure, you're sick.
Gerbil,
completely deranged. No doubt about it. Sick. But this world, I don't understand it. This world needs an enema. And where is the Batman? That's pretty sad. We have to get our heroes from comic books. Come on, God. Do some mutations. What's up? Where's my mech suit?
I don't know. How does the Bible read when you're, 2,000 years ago when they first wrote it? Does it read like a comic book? I don't have the original, so I don't know. But it's got some fantastic tales in it. I mean, the guy gets swallowed by a whale and then spit up on the beach days, weeks, months later. That never happens. When did that ever happen? Come on. There's so many, strange tales. I mean, think about the Bible. It's like one of those strange tales books, like Creepshow or any of those others. There's some weird, creepy happening stuff in the Bible.
Some archaeological
people coming back from the dead, people going down to hell and coming back up.
There is some archaeological evidence of some things. Like, I mean, what about Ezekiel's will? Who make that up unless you really saw it? That's crazy. That's some weird stuff. There's some weird stuff.
I'm not saying it's all fictional, but I bet a good bit of it is. But there are still really fantastical tales. I mean, a bush that catches on fire and talks to a dude. I mean, either you are chomping down on some of the best acid on the planet, or he just brushed by a bush. What is it?
There is some discussion that there may have been some psychedelic use for some of that.
Something has to explain that. I mean, you don't.
I had a weird experience once, and of course, I don't go around trying to press any of my stuff. My stuff's confusion most of the time. My spiritual beliefs can go from Christianity to Norse Viking to shamanism to Necronomicon in a week. But anyway, there was one time that there was some psychedelics at use, and I had been reading the Bible, and I had a very weird experience that was crazy. The sun turned into an angel and fell from the heavens.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, other kids would see curtains move and stuff like that. So there is something that's, I think, there's weird stuff like Jordan Maxwell. You familiar with him? A lot of mushroom use. He's like an occult dude that died that's like a genius that's very well known, that talks about a lot of like how the heavens is in the astrological signs is symbolic of Christ walking through the heavens, and the Scorpios, the kiss of Judas, like that whole thing set up like the walk of Christ. And I don't even know if he consider himself Christian, but he like studies all that stuff and has connections with like Peter Moon and Montauk and all that weird stuff, all that kind of stuff. But he died not too long ago. Thomas Horn died not recently. That was a guy that's pretty. You heard of him, Dr. Thomas Horn?
I think so. Was he famous for?
Like a lot of Christian, but Nephilim and like deep stuff like that, like Nephilim.
He dived into the deep weird stories in the Bible. Yeah,
and he's like on Steve Quayle kind of stuff, like his friend, and that's another personality that's getting to giants and weird stuff. I mean, I think there's something to giants. There's something. I think even Bigfoot, there may be a connection with giants, and that's the same thing.
And that film may even be what we know as Bigfoot today. There's no telling. But you said you're surprised that it seems like a comic book, or that we get our heroes from comic books nowadays. But it seems like these are the comic books of the day. Just look at some of those old stories. I mean, even the Greek myths. You got this guy who goes into hell. Hercules goes into hell to I forget what his mission was in hell. But he comes out being immortal, and these kind of things don't happen. You've got a guy who fights a dragon with 7 heads, and each time he chops off a head, 2 more show up. These are fantastical stories written for people that honestly couldn't read. A lot of these stories were oral traditions. We have them now written down, but think about just the scientific level of knowledge that the everyday person had back when these stories were being told by mouth and hadn't been printed yet.
The Lord is returning. Protect Israel. Command thee to protect Israel. Have the Soylent Green pumpkin spice.
It would be like you and me, Jeff, taking Doc Brown's DeLorean and going back even just to before printed word days where people did speak English. We just go back 150 years, 200 years, 300 years. And we play them we show them some of our stories, our comic book stories. We show them our movies. We would be gods. We would become gods only just 200, 300 years ago.
Yep.
Think about that.
Everything's nuts. Hopefully, we don't all die in a nuclear vapor, and we'll be here next Friday with Allison Jornlin. She's on Shark Tank tonight. She does
Cool.
ghost tours. She's trying to get it franchised. So hopefully that goes well. I'm kind of curious how those guys react to that, which I don't know. That's kind of worries me with that. But those I've seen some of those episodes. They can be hard asses, but I haven't watched it in a long time. And a long time ago, I saw some of them.
It was a good show. It had its, fun
She's
parts
on it
to
tonight, so that's got to be nerve wracking for sure. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about it next Friday and talk about her ghost tours. That's awesome. That's what she does like for a living and wants to bring it to every state.
Milwaukee Walking Ghost Tour.
Yep. So that's really cool. And we had her on a long time ago when, what's that guy's name? Lon something and her were having problems. He was being a dickhill to her. But I forget his name right now. Phantoms and Monsters guy. That's that guy that tried to demand me to apologize to Brett Butler, the lady from Grace Under Fire, when we had a weird. I know what happened. I sent out a Hurricane Michael donation thing into that lady's email, and she was like really mean. Like I didn't understand that, but I said something to her about my fart box, and then Lon came to me and said, "You need to apologize." The next thing you know, he's busted being mean to Allison. Weird, crazy, weird means. People are crazy, but anyway, that's what the fart box is for. The box of doom. But anyway, you listen to United Public Radio 107.7 FM New Orleans. Hope everybody has a good weekend, has a merry Halloween. Tomorrow night is full moon, so watch out for werewolves.
Yay.
Werewolves of London. So everybody have a good weekend. Good night. I'm really tired. Like I've been sleeping. Going into hibernation. But anyway, thanks, Jay. Thanks to Wham. Thanks to our guest. He's at that cool Florida horror convention. That sounds like a hoot.
No, why aren't you there? How far away is it?
Hey, dude, COVID's never mind. I can't say that word. Having a resurgence, probably. Like they're letting the viral, the bacteria loose. Not going to be in any public buildings. But anyway, everybody have a good weekend. Good night.